Good morning, traders, and welcome to the PL Capital Weekly Market Review. I'm your host, Paul. In this video, we're going to use wave analysis to look at possible patterns that are playing out in the key levels that exist in the market. We'll be looking at the S&P, the Nasdaq, some select stocks, and Bitcoin. So let's get started. And as usual, we'll start with the upcoming economic calendar, and we have a mighty impactful week ahead. So everything's going to resolve around on Wednesday, the Fed decision. But starting on Tuesday, you do have retail sales, and it's going to be a decrease from the previous month. So previous, we had sales of 1%, and consensus now is at 0.2%. So it's kind of a hefty drop there. So that'll be interesting to see what the market will do. There will definitely be a reaction. I do have some like industrial and business data coming out. A lot of housing data this week. A little bit on Tuesday. You got building permits, and housing starts on Wednesday. But all eyes are on the FOMC interest rate and the much anticipated beginning of the Fed cutting interest rates, going into a cutting cycle now. And the only question now remains is, are they going to cut 0.25% or 0.5%? As I said before, you get some analysts talking about if they do a 50 basis point cut, that could actually spook the market because they might be worried that the Fed is worried that the economy might be slowing too much. So I think if we get the 0.25% go down to 5.25%, I think everybody will just be happy with that, anticipating many future quarter point cuts coming. So all eyes are on Wednesday, 1 o'clock, and then Powell will be talking at 1:30. But actually this time I think it's going to be the 1 o'clock period where the volatility will spike tremendously. Thursday, you do have the weekly jobless claim, so all eyes are always going to be watching that from now on. Some more manufacturing, also a slight improvement, and a little bit more home sales, and then Friday's really nothing. So, yeah, all eyes on Wednesday in the anticipation of that. All right, let's get on to the chart. Going to start with the S&P. This is the futures contract. And on the S&P, it looks there's a potential for a diagonal going up. So from that August or from last Friday, September 6th low, price has gone up steadily last week. So September started off where we had 4 straight days of down. And then all last week, every day was a green day on the S&P and Nasdaq. So right now, all I see is really 3 waves. So I think this is potentially this. If this is going to go up in a diagonal, I see it as this. This is 1, 2, and then you have like your A, B, and then like some kind of a C wave. Actually, it looks like it would actually have to go and break this just one more time a little bit. But anyway. That this could be 3. If this top is in for 3 at 56.41, 4 should come down into this 55.26 to 55.53 range for 4, and then go up 3 ways up for 5. Given the strength of this wave, kind of blew through the 3rd wave target, so it's possible that this is like an 3-wave move up, and that is just 1. And now it's going to correct down for 2, and I would expect it to come down into this green zone, 54.88 to 55.17. So be curious to watch the market on Monday and Tuesday. Does it correct those days down? Because I just think that if the Fed cuts the quarter everyone's happy. I can't imagine that the market is going to sell off on that event. So just curious if we are like down here come Tuesday, and then Wednesday things just go crazy, and the market just kind of gives you a big three-wave move. But then that'll be the fifth wave. So it'll just depend on where we are come Wednesday. That's one potential scenario. But I'm only looking for up. Now on the S&P, there is the possibility that because you had a three-wave move down, and so far, like I said, we only have three waves up. If it blows through this 54.88 region, I think they could be actually be coming all the way back down to like this 53.95 area. Give you like a 335 look, and then it would be in a position to go up. So the S&P has that pattern in play. I don't think that's likely though, especially when we look at the Nasdaq. So that does exist, but I'd only be for both the S&P and Nasdaq. I'm only interested in the buys for both of these to be going up and breaking their all-time highs. So obviously the S&P is really close to their all-time high. The Nasdaq has got a little bit more room when we look. So here's the Nasdaq. Let me fix that. So yeah, it's got a little bit more room to get back up to this 2983 area. And the reason that I don't think like the S&P is going to make that deep correction down to 53.95 is because on the Nasdaq, to me, this very much looks like an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, and either the fifth wave is in, or just like the S&P, I think it could break that high, Friday high, one more time. But this is 5 waves. That's how I see it. So I do expect then a correction after this 5-wave move. And on this Nasdaq, it would at least come down to 19,285 to 19,1. Could go even farther, but it should at least come down into here before it reverses up. So if the Nasdaq has this structure of 5-wave, and it's just going to give a correction and then more up, I just don't see the Nasdaq doing something like this while the S&P would be coming all the way down, back down to there. So that's why I don't. I'm favoring either this is going to be the S&P will make a diagonal, come down into this area, or it'll come down into this green area, and then I think up here was 1, and this will be 2. So just because of what the Nasdaq I think is going to do, I don't think the S&P is going to make a big drop next week. So yeah, let's see. First, we got to confirm that this fifth wave is totally done. But if it is in this region, if you're not in, this is where I'd be wanting to look for a buy setup. And if you're lucky, you could get it probably like around 19 down to like 18, 18.8 or so, because it could make a deeper correction before it would then go up. So yeah, both I'm only looking for the buy setups, and especially because of this 5-wave move, I don't see. I mean, I guess the Nasdaq can make like this type of a pattern, just barely break that, and then come like all the way down, because you had this ABC, and then this would be an ABC, and then all the way down. I just think that if the Fed cuts a quarter, market's gonna love it, and it's off to up to break these previous highs up here. So that's what I see. So now let's look at a couple of stocks. We're gonna look at AMD, and this one obviously has just ripped really high. And there's been just a couple of small corrections, and it looks to me like this is 1, 2, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this doesn't look even quite done yet for the 5. So I could actually see this going up. But anyway, this I think is all going to, it's either this is the third wave or the third wave, it has one more push up and then it's going to be like this 1, 2. And then we'll have to see if we're going to get a 3, 4, 5, or like this will be a diagonal. And then they'll make a deeper correction. So if on AMD, if the third wave is in, I would expect this to correct down into this like 148 region. And then you'd have 1, 2, 3, and this will be your 4 going up for 5. So I think the way to play AMD is to let this fifth wave complete, because then you're going to get a much bigger correction, and you'll have the 5 waves confirmed, and then that's just a much safer way, because you don't know that this could like come way down, because it could just be a 3-wave move up, and that's one, and then you're going to get this deep 2, and you'll be able to get it into like the low 140s, and then I'd be looking for buys to be going up. So a couple of ways to play it, but yeah, I'm only looking for buy setups. It's very impulsive. I don't see this being some type of like 3-wave correction up and now it's going to come all the way down. That's just, this thing's been just on a tear. So does need a correction. You got some divergence building on the lower time frames. So yeah, I'd only be interested in a buy, but after a correction now. All right, gonna look at Google. I had a friend point this out to me, and Google looks incredible. Go out to a 4-hour chart. On the bigger time frame, I've had this for a while, this 1, 2. I think this was all the third wave, and then they made this 3-wave correction down. So I think that's 4. Look at how much room Google has to go up. I mean, that's a 22% to get back to its all-time high, and that would be the 5th wave. So Google, I think, looks really, really interesting, and you had a perfect 3-wave correction for 4. Now you never know. This could just be the A wave of the 4. You're gonna get a B wave correction, and then still one more down for C, and then that would complete the 4th wave. But I think I'd only want to be buying Google, especially with 22% upside. And so if we drill in, I got to go down to a 30-minute chart here. It's very clear that this is a 1, 2. It's deep enough that this could be 3, that's 4, and then that could be 5. So if that 5 is in, expect a correction at least down into this purple zone, so like 155 down to 154. Preferably though, it would correct down into like this 151, 152 range for a 1 and give you a 2. But with FOMC, I could see it also just correcting down, into this purple area, and then come Wednesday just taking off. So now the other possibility is that this isn't the 4 over here. So this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. Then I expect the 4 to come like down into this 155 range. So if it comes down like just getting in down here and then goes back up, then I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you'll get a bigger correction. But either way, I'd only want to be buying pretty much everything in the market. I think everything will be going higher. All right, Nvidia, pretty much the same thing as most things. I think this here was 1, 2, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so now the only question is, this is a three-way move. Now, is this going to be, is this A and B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C? And then you're going to get a deeper correction? Or is this 1, 2, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 was 3 up to here? The 4, it's a three-way move to here, and it almost came and touched this 117. So it could be that that's 1, 2, 3, and this was 4, and now it's going to go up, break 120, 79 for the 5th wave. Or it could be like this is just the A, create a B, one more drop, get into this purple zone, and then go up for the 5th wave. So, like I said, just like everything else, I'd only want to be looking for buys. You could buy it here in this purple zone. Not sure how much you're playing for. You'd probably be, 4, maybe even 5%, especially depending on what the market does on Wednesday. I mean, if you find yourself down here on Tuesday, that might be a pretty good risk to reward, because if it's going to go up, that 5th wave could be pretty powerful. You probably get more than 5%. But obviously, once you do get this 5-wave move, there will be some type of correction, and then you might actually be able to buy it lower than over here. So we'll have to wait and see just what happens on Wednesday, but only want to be looking for buys in everything. All right, so let's move on to Bitcoin. A lot of people in Discord still talking about it. And obviously, things have now changed in Bitcoin once again. So this pattern has been just very, very hard to read, because there's still the possibility that this comes all the way down below 49. But what they've done now is made a 5-wave pattern here. And it looks to me like a expanding diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now, because of this, I think the likelihood of going under 49 is really low. So we'll have to see. Now, they need to make a correction. They didn't come deep enough, because it should be coming down to 58, 57 to 58 down here. So it could be also that maybe this 5th wave isn't quite done yet. Maybe they got one more up, and then they'll make this correction. But any correction here definitely should be bought, because this is a strong 5-wave move. It doesn't look like a triple correction to me, WXYXZ. So I'd only want to be buying this too, but only if it pulls back deeper into one of these two zones, because it's possible that this 5th wave isn't done. If you buy here, it might just do this and then reverse and start a correction, and be kicking yourself that you didn't wait for it to correct. So it looks good, and then it's just going to be a matter of, is it able to break 65? Because you got this WXY, and then I see this as a WXY. And so we don't know the pattern yet, because if this 5-wave is able to correct and then go up and break this, then I think this is going up in a diagonal. And the 3rd wave target is up here at 68.5 up to 72. Because then that would be 1, and this was 2 down here at 52. And then it'll come up here for 3, correct for 4, and still go up for 5. So that's the bullish pattern. But the bearish pattern says that this was 5 waves. It corrected to here, and now it's going to go down. So if this is 3 waves to here, I would expect 3 waves up. So 5, correct, up, can't break 65. And then if it reverses hard, especially if it comes and breaks this 52, then all of a sudden it's looking like a diagonal going down. So still can't confirm what the direction is, but obviously any type of correction should be bought, because it has to go at least and break the 60 level. And then it's just a matter of, does it have strength to go and break that key 65 level? So yeah, a couple ways to be playing it, but for right now, I definitely would only want to be looking for the buys, at least for a short-term trade. And then you just got to be careful if it reverses after breaking this 60, 670 level. All right, that's what I see in the markets. Hope it helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your likes and support. I'll see you in the next video.